Welcome back to Val Verde Broadcasting's Archive Reviews. This week we are talking about Lethal Weapon, starring Mel Glover and Danny Gibson, and directed by Richard Donner, Superman. So if you've never come here before, which is unlikely, but if you haven't, we're two rapidly approaching middle-aged dickheads who talk about films, which we've been doing for a long time. I am Duncan Casey. I have I've worked in the film industry for 13 years, so I feel I'm somewhat qualified to do this as predominantly an actor, but also producer and director now and writer. And this is Richard Jackson. He's going to introduce himself right now. Now.
Hi, I'm tired. I'm so tired and everything hurts. And as you can see, I'm now in a featureless cube. But don't worry, I haven't been taken hostage in the style of Terry Waite, and I'm not kind of chained to a radiator. I just move flats, and the kind of haunted, vacant look in my eyes and the flat monotone of my voice just suggests how much fun that's been. Merry Christmas.
Terry Waite came and gave a talk at our sixth form.
Did he really?
Speech day, yeah. No, he
did. You didn't make him wait. We had
it's W-E.
Bubble Off Big Brother's mate.
Oh, right.
Not Bubble Off Big Brother. Bubble Off Big Brother's mate. I didn't go.
Fuck it.
Wow. It was supposed to be Bubble, but he didn't turn up. Anyway.
Now the cousin of the guy who played Huggy Bear.
Exactly. Yeah. Long Road Sixth Form. There you go. Lethal Weapon. It's Christmas.
Shane Black. Anything Shane Black, apparently. And the hard V. Yeah, Lethal Weapon. So I think I saw the second one first, if memory serves, but probably it doesn't because I'm old now. But yeah, I think I saw the second one first, but I remember this one probably being my favourite of the lot, and it's really good. The end.
I think the end. Okay, bye. Tune in next week for more Christmas. I think this is I don't know. Kind of goes without saying. People have different opinions, but this is the best of the bunch. I think it's just a great one and done. I don't begrudge the other ones and stuff, but it's a great one and done. I came to this fairly late because this was a film that people kept telling me to watch. I just kind of went, no, it's not got robots in it, because but I did eventually watch it, and it's very much this is a Joel Silver movie, right? And if it's not, it fucking feels like one.
I'll tell you in a sec.
Your classic. Oh yeah, Duncan's oracling it, but it's very much. It feels like that Joel Silver kind of school of Die Hard and Ricochet and those kind of movies.
Joel Silver is producer. Yep,
produced by Joel Silver. So it's got that school of kind of vaguely sweaty Joel Silver action movies with wacky sweary action and bit of blood and guts. I love how Ricochet is the kind of bastard child of those, which I'm a huge advocate for, and we will cover one day. But it very much Ricochet. And I'm going to have a point here. Ricochet shares a character with Die Hard, so Ricochet can be inferred to take place in the Die Hard and therefore Val Verde universe. Lethal Weapon feels like it does. There's no direct reference to those films linking each other, but they all feel like the Joel Silver universe feels like one kind of consistent thing in my view. Speed was the other one, wasn't it? We talked about as being a kind of Val Verde adjacent movie, because I think that's a Joel Silver one too, and that's Jan de Bont, who was DOP on Die Hard, directed Speed. So I think these could all conceivably exist in the same high octane universe, in my opinion.
Yeah, and why not? That sounds like a fun thing to have happen. I'm just looking up to see if Speed was a Joel Silver, but I'm sure you're right. Gosh, the man is prolific.
And Matrix as well. He's made all the action. And I associate these films with having chunky metallic font at the start.
Right.
So it's like, and some kind of. It's what Last Action Hero sends up really wonderfully. This whole vibe.
I don't think he did. He didn't do Speed. As far as
he didn't do Speed.
He did do 1996's Executive Decision, in which Steven Seagal gets sucked out of a.
Steven Seagal dies very soon.
Steven Seagal. I've been watching lots of Steven Seagal stuff, not to derail too much.
Oh, you poor fucker.
Just because I'm like, what the hell happened to him?
It's just the maddest.
Where are you?
I think the key to Steven Seagal is that he's just always been mad, except it only really sort of emerged when he got his own agency. You know what I mean? When he's in charge of his own destiny, it's like, yeah, you're fucking mental. This is so Lethal Weapon is I think what gets lost in the wash here, I think, as it moves on and as the sequels come on, is like, it's really quite prominently about a very, very ill man who's got quite profound PTSD. And, you know, it's like, does he have the gun in his mouth or like to his head when he's
in his mouth? Yeah, no.
In his
Well,
mouth.
no, it's to his head, and then Danny Glover goes, "Put it in your mouth."
So it's the total non-gaze of Lethal Weapon when you extract things out of context.
yeah. Do the job right. Put it in your mouth, and my dick and balls too. Cut, Danny.
That wasn't erotic enough. Off your bumhole.
It's balls and dick.
For fuck's sake, man. Do it properly. Yeah, because all the stuff, like, it's a really, I think we've circled back round because we had unhinged Mel Gibson, and then we went round to family-friendly Mel Gibson, and we're very much back at unhinged Mel Gibson.
Yeah.
But it's a fucking unhinged performance in this, and it's very, like, Dirty Harry-esque, right? He doesn't care anymore, he doesn't follow the rules, and he needs the kind of family man to ground him and stuff. You know.
Yeah, I mean, one could infer now. I mean, the thing is, we live in an age now where we pick things apart probably far too much. But there is that thing of kind of like, what's lethal about him? It's because he's suicidal, which is sort of a bit. Is he? Because I don't know. But when you say like lethal weapon, you're implying effective weapon, aren't you? You're saying, well, it's effective, it's lethal. It literally,
right.
There is nothing else that it does that is lethal, and so to sort of then imply that what makes him that is that he's nuts is a bit sort of tasteless. but you know, it's I get it. I get where they're going with it.
It was a different time.
It was, and it's funny how because that title just doesn't really make sense for any of the other sequels and stuff, and it's kind of like it almost doesn't make sense for the first one. You kind of think, well, it just feels like a placeholder rather than an actual. You know
It's
what I mean?
it's the kind of, oh wait, hold on, I'm really tired. Lethal, is that an adjective or a noun? It's an adjective. It's a describing word. It's an adjective.
Yeah, I mean, yes, I suppose so. Yeah,
but if I'm wrong, we'll find out soon enough. Such as the internet. You know, there's
you add it to things. You don't use it in its own sense, do you? Would we?
You don't ver it to things.
Well, no, because something could prove a thing can be lethal, but lethal in and of itself doesn't.
Okay, well, let's just say there is a naming convention, and I don't know if Lethal Weapon started it. It probably didn't. Of adjective, noun, and like lethal weapon, deadly force, like, and there were so many kind of like what I liked about like once you've used up lethal weapon, it's like, oh, that's a good one. And then when you get into the reads of like straight-to-video knockoffs, they're kind of left with the table scraps.
Yeah.
Where it's kind of like deadly bludgeon. Wait, what? and
Killy bang bang.
Killy bang bang. Murdering something. You know. So yeah, I think the title, if you give it any kind of scrutiny, the title just means nothing. Like if a film came out 20 years later called Lethal Weapon, you just shrug your shoulders at it. Not that it matters, like it, you know, because it's a great movie, and I think Shane Black wrote this when he was like 22 or something. Like he was really young.
It's things that, I mean, even Die Hard doesn't really make sense either. I mean, I know he's hard. He's hard to kill, but that's to bring it back to Steven Seagal. That which is again, you know, I mean, like he called a film Hard to Kill, and it's like, you mean Die Hard?
Die hard to kill. The hard to kill.
He dies hard, but he's also hard to kill. He's Steven Seagal with his silly ponytail and big gut, drawn on moustache.
Yes, he's kind of like boot polish hair.
It looks like the kid from the Munsters. I mean, titles aside, it was that time, wasn't it? And that very much continued into the 90s of that kind of. Oh, my chair's creaking.
It's not his bum.
It's not. But of like, sort of titles like that were kind of. Now my head's just full of Steven Seagal titles like On Deadly Ground and Fire Down Below, which is not about thrush, but should be.
Yeah, it sounds like a Caniston advert.
It does, yeah. Marked for death. But yeah, so, you know, I mean, it was very much, and they're sort of like odd because they're kind of descriptors, but not. You know, it's kind of like, well, that doesn't really describe what happens in it. So
Right.
It sort of does, but
Yeah, because you marry it to a trailer. don't you?
Yeah.
You marry that title to a trailer, and it's like, we're making another one of these. But every now and then you're going to hit pay dirt. I mean, I just think, like, you got a director such as Richard Donner, who was just this ridiculously versatile kind of storied, probably kind of like high-end journeyman director at this point, you know what I mean? And he could just kind of swoop in and do it, no trouble. And kind of like John McTiernan and stuff. And there's just like such a high caliber of talent in this, and it's so perfectly cast. I think the central relationships are so perfectly balanced, because you've got the unhinged Mel Gibson and Danny Glover, who's perfectly believable as it's not all he did, like, by a long stretch, very storied and versatile actor, but like you buy him as family man, dad cop who just wants a quiet life, you know, and you put them together and wacky hijinks ensue, which is what, you know, I'll wank off about film noir again in a minute, because any excuse, because it's one of the things I remember from school, but it's Shane Black really prodigiously understanding kind of what classical Hollywood made work and updating it. I think it's like, and I don't know if like the reason he has his Christmas thing is because of that, but he's able to kind of look at and Richard Donner, like, just look at Superman. Richard Donner is so kind of rooted in classic Hollywood. Like Lethal Weapon almost has a kind of Billy Wilder-esque quality to it. Like, keep in mind, Billy Wilder did a lot of kind of broad spectrum of genre. It's got, you know, I don't know what you would have, but somewhere out there's a version of this that was made in the 1940s with Jimmy Stewart and Peter Lorre or something. You know what I mean? Like, again, strange. Billy Wilder's Lethal Weapon. Like, you know, it really has that kind of...
No, listen here. I'm too old for this shit.
Put it in your mouth there.
Same script. Just, yeah. Do it right. Put it in your mouth.
Fucking watch the absolute
Don't nibble on the barrel. Pull the trigger now.
Oh, geez.
Jeez, golly willikers.
I really mean that. I do mean that. I know, you know, not the remake thing though, as good as it'd be.
Probably not.
AI will catch up with me. Like, furiously searching for. I think it does. It has a grounding in the kind of classical movement, and it's set in LA, so it has that West Coast Hollywood thing. And Shane Black endlessly draws from film noir, as he is here. I think opening with the mystery of a dead girl is something that he revisits and stuff, and that's in The Nice Guys as well. And you know, the buddy thing, Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, The Nice Guys, all this other stuff that Black wrote. It's all sort of grounded in that, and it's already got the kind of snappy, chappy, you know, buddy cop type stuff in it. Like, it's got the investigation sort of strand that a film noir would have. It has the setting. It does the kind of track up the building at the beginning. Almost has like a kind of Hitchcock quality to it. Like, right. It's very, very classical in so many ways, which I think makes it really, really interesting. Like, it's so much more than your run of the mill sort of action movie. Like, I think Die Hard is more than your run of the mill action movie, but for completely different reasons. I think that's more of a kind of modernized thing in a similar vein. Like, they're two movies that are very closely related. They're cousins, which in Norfolk would mean they're married.
The thing. All right, I'm Die Hard. I'm married. A Lethal Weapon. Because you said this with. Oh, you have got a beard. Good on you. You said this with Last Action Hero. You know, I think you pointed out in that there was a lot of, you know, Donner really had his hand on all that stuff, and you know, all the kind of old Hollywood, new Hollywood.
Yeah, so I put Donner and McTiernan in that same bracket. I think there's so much similar between those two guys, and I think they're kind of film school version of Classically Trained, essentially.
That's what I mean. Yeah, because I didn't start that very well. I was talking about McTiernan.
I knew what you meant because I live inside your head. So.
Yeah. Just realised I didn't preface that by saying I'm not talking about original. But no, I remember you pointing it out in that and saying that the two, you know, the two sides of Hollywood are very well represented in that. Anyway, sorry. Yeah.
But East Coast versus West Coast thing, and that's literally the fucking plot of Die Hard.
Yeah.
is the East Coast West Coast culture clash, which is not really present in this so much. But yeah, I think they're just very aware, and I just think, Joel Silver had this kind of not movement, but these producer-led films that he would have a script and he would get the director and and in lesser hands, this would probably be sort of forgotten. You know what I mean? Because it's not just Shane Black's script, it's not just Donna's directing, it's not just the performances, it's not just the music. Like, I think it's really like this great soup of different things that come together at the right time. The other Lethal Weapon films are largely Joss Ackland going diplomatic immunity, and I'll just do that. To me, is that, and Patsy Kensit's in it, and then
Joe Pesci kind of
one. Joe Pesci becomes such a big
dominates from it's the second one onwards. He sort of just it's the three of them. Even on the poster, he's like. And you're like, no.
Okay,
I love Joe Pesci, but not like. Not that
yeah, well, it's just the wacky comic relief becoming the main character.
Yeah,
is scarcely good news. Not that I don't hate those movies, but because Donna did do all of them, didn't he? Donna came back and did every Lethal. There was the TV show. And then the guy who played Riggs got sacked for off-screen stuff, whatever it was, and got replaced with Sean William Scott playing Miggs or something, or just a different character, and then he got cancelled. Yeah, but that kind of ran for. I'm intrigued by. I'm not sure I'd ever bother watch it, but that ran for quite a while.
We watched some of the first series, and it was all right, but it didn't feel like this very much has that. Like you said, it carries that style over from those films. The Lethal Weapon films have a very, very distinctive style, and that just didn't have it. And it was trying to sort of put it all in a modern context, and it was a bit like it could have just been anything. It could have been any cop show ever, really, to be honest. Yeah. Okay. Not great.
Yeah, Cop Show 56 or whatever.
Pretty much.
But you kind of wonder why they're doing it and stuff, and money, but you know what I mean, like creatively speaking. I don't know. I mean, it's interesting to me that existed. There was some other 80s film adaptation that had a few seasons, didn't it? Some show, but I can't remember.
I know they did. Well, not film, but they've done this remake of Magnum PI that I just refuse to watch because it looks glossy and shocking. It just looks awful. So I won't go anywhere near it. But
there's a Quantum Leap. Speaking of the Donald P. Bellisario shows, there's a Quantum Leap one out now as well.
Yeah.
At the moment. So there you go. They're in the Donald P. Bellisario mine, which is located in Ohio, which is the egg from which he was born was discovered there by archaeologists.
Very good.
I don't know what I'm doing. I didn't sleep well. But yeah, it's got Lethal Weapon has a real roughness to it, which I like, and let's not forget you've got like Gary Busey in there as well, like Buseying, like really Buseying it up. One of my favourite parts is where, because obviously you got the wonderful Tom Atkins in there, and one of the for some reason I still find this really funny, and I know it's just me, but like when the eggnog gets shot up, I just crease. I think it's the funniest thing of it. I don't know why. I laugh.
Because he gets shot through. He's holding a carton of eggnog, isn't he?
And it's like it's the death of Christmas, like
right?
Eggnog gets shot up. Because that's the funeral scene, right? And that's where you get your Christmas tree and everything.
Yeah,
is in that. Because obviously, Nice Guys is LA Christmas as well. But as I remember, Kiss Kiss Bang Bang is very snowy.
Very much. Film. Yeah. Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. Long Kiss Goodnight. Kiss My Bum. Oh no, that's a different one.
Lethal Kiss, Die Kiss, The Predator Kiss.
Kiss of the Spider Woman.
Kiss of the Spider
Woman. Very different film. Not set at Christmas. I mean, there's a lot of that sort of snowy, cold. Even in Lethal Weapon. I guess Lethal Weapon, obviously being set in LA. It's less Christmassy. I suppose Die Hard takes place at night, doesn't it? So it doesn't really. You can't place the season as well,
and indoors as well. So it's a place that's decorated, and they really kind of lean into it with because people like to come back at the Die Hard thing, going like, "Well, Lethal Weapon's a Christmas movie," so but it doesn't really lean into it in the same way.
Yeah.
Because as I've argued, I'm sick of people coming into the comments of my video going like, it's like, watch the fucking video. That's what I made it for. Like, it's in the fabric of Die Hard. It's in the music and.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go into that again because now it's off trend to talk about that and it makes people annoyed. So I'm not going to do it. You know.
Yeah.
They're talking about because obviously old Dick Donner passed away this year.
I'm gonna find out.
Oracle's on it. Yeah, like he passed away this year. Last year. Okay. Because now Lethal Weapon. So Mark and I always talk about that, like naming the main character and the name of the film. Cause
Right. Yeah.
Lethal Weapon is going to direct Lethal Weapon 5. He reckons. Mel Gibson.
Right.
Mel Gibson says that Donner kind of anointed him to direct Lethal Weapon 5. And it's like, Danny Glover's like 80.
Did you see them? They were at some sort of. I think it was a Richard Donner. This is obviously pre-death Richard Donner. Like
all those press junkets they did with his corpse.
Yeah, before they realised.
Before they.
Anyone hear anything about verisimilitude? Not for a few days. Okay, well maybe. I remember when. There was some. I think it was like a Lifetime Achievement Award or whatever, and Mel Gibson and Danny Glover got up to sort of give him the award, but they were there for ages. And it was just this sort of. Just this big bag of mad. It was it was insane.
Oh,
like
really?
There was basically Mel Gibson going, "Yeah, do you remember when and Danny Glover going like, "It's the way I forgot my pants," and it's just like it goes on like that. But he said something about like, "You remember I had that shirt? You really like that shirt I had?" He's going, and he's just like. Yeah, I remember this. Yeah, sure. Yeah, whatever. And it's just like it's just so fucking like it's really cringy.
What's going on?
Neither of them seem to have a clue. One of them's like in a state of mania. The other one's in a state of bewilderment and befuddlement. And it's just like you can't. Surely you can't. Don't leave them in charge of a film. Like that's not going to go well.
If I wasn't concerned that Danny Glover would definitely die, I'd be like, I want to see what happens. I don't want to be responsible for the death of an octogenarian beloved actor. But like, no, let him. Let's see what comes out the other end of this.
No, let them go. Let them go.
Let them go. Go.
I mean,
free.
I suppose part of me is like, come on, like this week, I really do get fed up with this kind of drag. Like we've had the trailer for Indiana Jones, whatever it is, 5,
97,
yeah, coming out, and it's just like, guys, just let it go for fuck's sake. I do get really fed up with this whole legacy sequel crap because it's like, are you really that? Like you're just. All you're doing is sullying the name of something else that was so of it a product of its time. I know in the case of Indiana Jones, I know they're period films, but it's like, come on, it spoke to something at the time. It's the same thing with Lethal Weapon and stuff like. What is this? It's going to be them because the fourth one was this, right? So it is going to be them more at odds with the world around them, going like, a cell phone? What's a cell phone? Riggs, give me my slippers and what is it going to mean?
It's what they felt the need to do. Though you and I are both defenders of Die Hard 4, that's what they felt the need to do with John McClane going like, I don't know how a computer works, yippee-ki-yay, or whatever.
yeah.
Like, that's all they fucking had. I guess they do that in 5. I have watched it, but all I remember is 2 eggs kind of shouting in Russia. That's all I remember. Fucking.
I got very drunk when I watched that, so I can't, and bored, and was on my phone for most of it.
I can't. I honestly, genuinely don't think it would have altered your experience of it.
No, probably not.
Having watched it, but God, we've been well off topic on this. well,
no, I think it's all relevant. But it's one of those films where it's so sort of it is one. It. Do you think it sits outside the kind of? It seems to me, anyway, the most talked about films of the sort of mid to late 80s are your RoboCop, your Predator, a lot of the sci-fi stuff, your Terminator, although I know that was earlier, that kind of stuff. But this, although it is still considered, I think, an action classic, it very much sort of stays outside of no one really goes into it and picks it apart in quite the same way. I think this and Die Hard, and then were the sort of higher brow action films of the 80s, and then you've got your sort of slightly more schlocky Schwarzenegger raw deal kind of stuff. You think
It's definitely, yeah, it's like it's part of the furniture for sure. Like, and it's in the kind of higher production value, kind of higher end of things. I think what I'm trying to say is that I think Lethal Weapon's a bit sort of taken for granted.
right?
You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like, I know we're part of the wanking off about all the other films you've listed, but like it's kind of taken for granted. And I think I sort of wonder that about, not necessarily, but like I kind of wonder that about Richard Donner in general sometimes. In that he had like this mad varied career, and he's adored and stuff. But it's like, well, hold on, like this guy fucking did Lethal Weapon and The Goonies and Maverick, and like it's just such a varied career. I think to a degree he was sort of taken for granted. I know obviously him and his wife produced loads of very important stuff, you know, but he directed like Lady Hawk and you know what I mean? Like it's such a varied career. And yeah, I don't know, maybe it's sort of like taken for granted a little bit. Like people don't run around quoting Lethal Weapon like they do Die Hard or whatever, what have you.
Yeah.
You know, and I find that quite odd. And I don't know if it kind of diminished itself by kind of, because, you know, that had 4 movies in a relatively compressed time frame, compared to, say, Die Hard or whatever. Or Indiana fucking Jones, which has been going on for 700 years.
Yeah.
You know. So, yeah, I don't know. It's because it's definitely part of the furniture. It's definitely respected. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Well, okay, well, look, bringing it into land then, as the cool kids say in podcast land.
Today.
No. What are your sort of closing thoughts? I mean, I think, you know, we did a longer live stream on it last year, which you can find on the channel. Was it a live stream or a commentary? I can't remember.
It was a watch party.
Watch party, sorry.
A combination of the twain, if you
the twixt and the twain.
Twixt, yeah.
It was. I think it's one of those films which is hard to add anything to. It's kind of avoided. I mean, Lethal Weapon 4 was 98, so it just did a sort of decade, didn't it? As a sort of, and that was like a victory lap, and then it's kind of done like, well, I suppose 11 years it did.
Well, there's a TV show which doesn't really count, and then there's this kind of, like we said, this sort of wrong-headed talk of a revival,
Yeah,
where a skeleton and a psychopath are going to make another one.
yeah, it's a zombie. Lethal Weapon.
Yeah, Mel Gibson's like, I can't even do it, but like even on you do his yeah, but he's on Graham, he's sat next to Graham Norton going like yeah.
Yeah,
and
he does that.
It's like he doesn't blink, like his eyes don't fucking close anymore.
There's that clip from Graham Norton movies when we talked about having dinner with Sean Connery or something, and he's like, yeah, so Sean, we're having dinner, and he said, would you like some of my goulash or whatever? And it's just like, what? It's just like, he just doesn't. He's got the Gary Buseys, like he's got the kind of, although Gary Busey.
Yeah.
Have you seen Gary Busey recently? Like, speak about walking corpses. I mean, not to speak ill of the not dead, but fucking hell.
Of the nearly dead.
Yeah. Hi. It's just like, whoa, like what? Someone left you out in the cold or warm or whatever.
Left you out in the warm.
It's like a gone off human. It's weird. Sort of putrefied in a weird way. Like, God love him. Love Gary Busey. Don't get me wrong. Have you seen that behind the scenes thing on Predator 2 where they just rolled on him and he's like, we are gonna capture the thing, and he's just like going on and on and on, like we'll be turned into particles known as blood, and it's like.
He's
what?
a walking advert. He's the advert for don't do cocaine everywhere. Like, it's just like fucking hell. And some of the, did you hear that? He was in a movie about sidebar. He's in a movie, I can't remember what it's called, about a man who dies and is reincarnated as a dog. And there's a scene like in heaven, and it's budget as fuck. And heaven is a white room with a bunch of cotton wool on the walls and mirrors. And he refused to film in there till they removed the mirrors because he'd been to heaven. And heaven didn't have mirrors, and to preserve the verisimilitude of the man reincarnated as a dog film, That's Gary Busey. God love him.
Yeah.
The mad cunt.
God didn't love him though, did he? Because he sent him back.
You sent him back. Would you want Gary Busey for eternity? Fucking hell.
Which I hardly need remind you is a hell of a long time. Rowan Atkinson's The Devil sketch. Anyway, that's it. That's us really. I think we've shot our shit on that one. So as 'twere. So thank you very much for joining us for this loose discussion on 1987's. I don't know why we personify the year when it comes to movies, like as though they possess the film. I suppose they do in a way. Hey, whatever.
It's something that's very academia leans very, very heavily on correctly addressing the year. It's very important when you write to correctly address the year.
Right. I mean, there's not much more to say. So thank you for listening. We've been rubbish today, but we're both sort of pretty strung out and sort of trying to get into the spirit of things.
My room's been getting darker and darker as this show's worn on as well, because it's getting dark outside.
Yeah, same here. I think I've got my ring light on, so you probably can't tell, but it's getting really dark. But yeah, thank you all very much for joining us, and we are going to be back again with some more content.
Content.
Bye.
Bye.